Hello students, now we are going to continue with the next part of our lesson, that is the lesson number 5 of history, the uprising of 1857. Till now what we have learnt, in the first part we have learnt about the causes of the revolt. The second part we have learnt about the spread of the revolt in our India, the centers of the revolt. By the help of these information, we get to know that only the northern part of our country was related with the uprising. The southern part was not related, or it was passive. So this was the reason behind the failure of the revolt. This is the one of the reasons. Now we are going to learn about the more reasons for the failure of this revolt. So I am going to start with the point, that is the suppression of the revolt. Now as the revolt it was there, the Britishers wanted to suppress it. So the power of the British was completely upset by the revolt. So the British tried to suppress it. The Governor General Lord Canning, he moved his army force under the leadership of the best commander like Hugh Neil, Campbell, Havelock, Outram and John Lawrence. In order to suppress the revolt, they massacred the people, means they killed the people, and even they burned the villages. The fierce battle fought in many places like Reach, Chandni Chowk, Kashmiri Gate and Red Fort. Bahadur Shah Zafar and his family took shelter in Humayun's tomb to save their lives. The British captured him and exiled him to Rangoon, Myanmar. After a long court case, they declared him guilty as guilty of treason, that means the act against the nation, murder and rebellion. On 7 November 1862, Bahadur Shah Zafar died in Rangoon. Nana Sahib and Begum Hazrat Mahal, they fled to Nepal. Tata Tope was captured by the Britishers and he was also executed in 1859. However, it took the British a while to suppress the revolt. Means what? It was not a very easy task for the Britishers to suppress the revolt. The British tried to win the support from the local people as well. They announcing the rewards like the loyal landlords would be able to enjoy their traditional rights over their land. Means whatever the rights and the privileges and the powers the landlords were having, that will be continued with them. They announced it. They also announced that whoever will surrender them, that would be pardoned. So this is how the Britishers announced the rewards and won the support of the local people. Then why the uprising failed? Now we are moving towards learning about the failure of the revolt and what the reasons behind them. The whole India was not affected by the revolt. This was the very main reason, we can say. As I told you, only the northern part of the country was related with the revolt. Rajasthan, Assam, Orissa, Bengal, greater part of Punjab and South India all remain less unaffected, more or less unaffected. Rulers of many princely states like the Nizam of Hyderabad, Rajput rulers and the ruling chiefs of Nabha, Patiala and Kashmir did not support the revolt anymore. The British strongholds, means the provinces of the Britishers, which were very important for the British, that were the Bengal, Bombay, means nowadays Mumbai, and Madras. They took safety measures for these places. They checked they checked it by the uprisings, and they also issued the orders like to shoot anyone whoever is suspected found supporting to the revolutionaries. The British were supported by the strong government in England. The Britishers were not alone. The East India Company was supported by the British government, and a well-developed administrative setup it was there in India of the Britishers. Means they were having the well-developed, well-connected telegraph system, roads, and the railway networks. Moreover, they had the superior military technique and the able generals. As compared to the Indian military technique were not only outdated, but the rebel leader even failed to consolidate their gains as they lacked experience and coordination. Means whatever the area they own, they could not continue their powers over that areas as they were having less experience and there was no any coordination. The movement lacked a centralized leadership and mass appeal. Means what? There was no any central leadership. It was there with the uprising. The areas were divided with the different leaders. That was also one of the reason. Most revolts were restricted to the small areas and leaders fought to liberate their own territories. Means there they were considering or they were concentrating only on their own areas and not for the whole country. Moreover, the newly educated Indians, they also remained unsympathetic with the revolt. They opined, they were thinking that the British rule is very much necessary for the modernization and the development of the country. So they were, in this were supporting to the British government. The nature of the revolt, this is the next point. What type of revolt it was there? The British termed this revolt of 1857 as only the Sepoy Mutiny. This what? Revolt or the rebel by the Sepoy. While on the other hand, the Indian historians considered it as the first war of independence. So this is what the difference between the opinions. The British officers who witnessed the revolt, such as the Sir James Outram, then P.E. Roberts, they called this revolt as a mutiny of soldiers, and which happened due to the use of the grease cartridge. So they considered only that because of that grease cartridge only the revolt outbreak. However, the revolt of 1857 did not occur suddenly. That whatever the revolt it was there, that was not the one day miracle. After the conquest of the Bengal, if we move in the past, then we will find that in 1763 Britishers owned the Bengal. They started to rule over there, but the people were not very much satisfied because of the economical, political and the social policies applied by the Britishers. They were very much unhappy, discontent with all these British administration. And this is the only reason which led to the outbreak of the revolt. Some famous scholars and the Indian nationalist leaders, they also viewed that 1857 as the first war of independence. So according to them, both the Hindu and the Muslims, they participated in the revolt togetherly against their common enemy that were the Britishers, and the British governor Disraeli, he also referred this revolt as a national revolt. Then the effect of the uprising, though the revolt is considered as a failure one, but the impact of this revolt was much more. So many changes happened in India after this. So what were that? A massive change in the British policy was Observe after the revolt of 1857, these changes were aimed at strengthening the British control. Means the Britishers now started to think about to strengthen their power over the control of India, and also preventing any revolt in future. They also concentrated about the revolt step of that 1857 should not happen again in future. In August 1858, the British Parliament passed a new act, means they passed the new law, that law passed by the British Parliament, and as per that, the powers of East India Company transferred to the British Crown, means what? The British Parliament. A member of the British Cabinet was appointed in India. The Secretary of the State for Indian Affairs, responsible to the British Parliament, was made in charge of the British political affairs in India. So they appointed a British officer from the British Parliament. The title of Viceroy was given to the Governor General. The Governor General now became the Viceroy, who was answerable to the Crown through the Secretary of State. So he was responsible for the British Crown. The Secretary of the State was assisted by a council, means a member, committee of a member, that is the council, and that council is called as the Indian Council. So that was assisted or supporting to the Secretary of State. In 1858, Queen Victoria, she issued a proclamation, means she issued the document. She announced that the Indian princess, that no further annexation would be made. Okay, she also announced that no any more princely state will be annexed or merged with the British power. They could pass over their kingdoms to their heirs, but had to accept the British paramountcy. Means they could pass their whatever the position or whatever their kingdom to their heirs, but they should accept the paramountcy of the Britishers. She also promised not to interfere in the social and the religious customs and the practices of the Indians. Means no any kind of reformation will be there with the religious and the social customs of Indians. To win the loyalty of the landlords, the British awarded them the titles and recognized their traditional land rights, as I told before. Means they continued with the powers, privileges and the authorities of the local landlords. They continued it. The number of European soldiers was increased in comparison to Indians. Means they increased the number of British soldiers and they reduced the Indian soldiers in their army. Artillery was placed under the European officers and soldiers. Means that the whatever the artillery it was there, that section transferred to from the Indians to the British soldiers. The strategic military position were also handed over to the British soldiers, and now Gurkhas, Pathans and Sikhs were recruited in a large numbers. The British pursued the policy of divide and rule. This is very important. Divide and rule. To prevent any uprising in the future, means they wanted to divide the society. They didn't want any kind of unity among the Indians. So in fact, they followed a conscious policy of discrimination by impounding the property of the Muslim and accusing them of starting the rebellion. The uprising of 1857 was crushed, but it was considered as a landmark in the history of India. So this revolt encouraged the Indians to struggle against the oppressive British regime. Is whatever the British power, the Indians now become enough confident to fight against the British powers. The inspiration fused by this revolt paved the way for national movement in the future. So this was the only inspiration for the means for the national leaders, for the national movements in the future. So in this way, the revolt or the uprising of 1857 was very important in the Indian history. So this is how we have completed the lesson. Okay, thank you.